Okay, morning everybody. Thanks for that, Robin. Yes, I'm Simon Fisher. I'm from BT. I'm the principal access consultant, one of the principal architects within the BT group. 20 minutes seems a very short period to summarize an awful lot of issues and questions that are around 5G and converged architectures, and especially what flavor of fixed access network is best to support 5G going forward. I think a lot of the questions we'll address in the panel session, but having spent 30 years in access networks, and I've been through all of the sharp end from pulling cables in, digging duct in, evolving legacy systems. From an operator's point of view, there's an awful lot, the legacy network and how we evolve from that and the phases we go through to get to this new nirvana of a seamless world for our customers and everything works everywhere. It is extremely tricky. My background is looking at fixed access networks, primarily in optical systems, but also DSL. And one of my major activities currently is working out what form of front haul or back haul systems we can actually use in the BT UK network to actually cost effectively build a cost stack which our product lines can then give those product offerings to our customers in a way that makes sense from a business case point of view. In my talk, I'm going to go through a little bit about the UK market in terms of touching on what Julie, I don't know if Julie's still here from Ovum, said earlier, just a few touch points from us as an operator's point of view on revenue, bandwidth, and what we're having to meet from the customer's expectation point of view. I'm then going to go forward with, okay, how BT is going to address that. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are on that journey and ultimately this path, this direction of travel in the telecoms industry towards virtualization, disaggregation, and core and network cloud. So let's start off just with a little bit about the market in the UK. This graph, there's two graphs here. One is showing the uptake of fixed and mobile telephony and also fixed and mobile broadband. And I don't think the telephony story is going to surprise too many people. Slight downturn in fixed telephony, slight upturn in mobile telephony. But the key thing there is that both are very high take-up and approaching saturation. In terms of mobile broadband, with smartphones, clearly over the last 5 years, we've seen a huge increase, 52%, I think that slide says up there, in terms of customer take-up of broadband service on smartphones and mobile. But ultimately, the message to take from that graph on the left is that is a general message of service take-up saturation in the UK. And if we look on the graph on the right, which talks about revenue, we can see there's about a 1.7% decrease in revenue in the UK telecoms market between 2012 and 2017. You could argue if we took out 2012, it's roughly stable, but ultimately the picture from these two slides is that operators are having to evolve their networks with possibly little or no extra money to do that. If we look at BT's forecast of the capacity that network is going to have to carry, both from fixed and the mobile point of view, on the right here you can see currently we're going out to about the financial year of 2024. Currently on our fixed network we're looking at about 15 terabits per second peak demand, and on the mobile network it's about 0.4, 0.5 terabits per second. But going forward to 2024, we can see there's almost a fourfold increase in the traffic and the bandwidth capacity that our network today is going to have to cater for. And we're going to have to do that effectively with no extra money. And I used to love that phrase where people used to say you've got to consume your own smoke, which is effectively you've got to design tomorrow and meet rolling expectations from the customer at virtually no extra cost of building these networks. So that's the environment we're looking at. We're having to massively increase the capacity of our fixed and mobile network and also meet a customer's demand for more compelling and seamless connectivity. So where are we today and how is BT going to address that? Well, on the left-hand side here, we can see that really the BT network is divided into three main platforms. We've got our super fast fixed broadband platform, which is FTTC and FTTP. We've got our mobile platform, which is BT acquired EE in 2015, so we've got that mobile platform, and also we've got Wi-Fi on the go. Now, super fast broadband, we're currently rolling out, I think as of last week, it was something like 20,000 homes passed a week, and by the end of the next 12 months, we're looking to double that. So we'll be going past about 40,000 homes a week with our fixed fibre to the premise network at this point, our fibre-first strategy. With mobile network, we're currently obviously evolving to 5G, and we're upgrading our cell towers from 1 gig to 10 gig backhaul, and back into our mobile core. And then we've got our Wi-Fi network as well. So 3 independent platforms there. Now, we can't continue just to turn the handle on those 3 platforms as they are now. The cost of upgrading those platforms would just not be efficient. And as you'll see in a couple of slides' time, because BT acquired EE, clearly there were different architectures and different network strategies going on in that mobile and fixed network, and consequently that network is just ripe for an efficiency change going forward. So on the right you can see what we're striving for. We're trying to combine those 3 platforms into one, to coin that phrase that's used probably too often, converged network, in order to give our customers a seamless and consistent connectivity across all those 3 platforms, and also provide us with a much more efficient way of building and scaling those networks to meet that capacity going forward. So a little bit about our 5G rollout. I mean, in terms of 5G, BT launched in May 2019, this year. We're currently, as of last week, we've covered about 20 major towns and cities. And as a party to, and in parallel to this, as I say, there's a massive upgrade of our FTTP network going on as well, as we start to overbuild our FTTC network throughout the UK. Moving on to a little more detail on what our current core networks look like. On the left-hand side here, you can see, if I had a laser pointer, have I got a laser pointer? I think I have. Yep. On the left-hand side here, this is what our network looks like today. Mixed, fixed coming in the bottom here. Here we see a mix of our FTTP and FTTC platforms, 13 terabits per second peak demand, and millions of customers passed. On the top here, the more focus of this presentation is our mobile platform. So because, as I said, BT acquired EE in 2015, we've got a split in our networks here, about 14,000 sites or cell towers which are backhauled over our Openreach network. And for those of you who don't know, the regulatory position in the UK is slightly more complex than other operators across the world, in that we have Openreach, who own and build the access network, providing an open access platform. So a lot of that traffic, or all of that traffic in the fixed world, is brought back on the Openreach backhaul. 14,000 cell towers for our 4G network and evolving to 5G is also brought back on 1 gig point-to-point fibre networks, fibre network products bought from Openreach. But up here we see third-party backhaul. So we've got about 5,000 sites which come back on non-Openreach, non-BT Group network. They will be point-to-point fibre, there'll be point-to-point microwave radio in there, and there's also a little bit of dark fibre as well. So clearly this is not an efficient way to build a network going forward, and we've got a fixed IP core and we've got a mobile IP core. So this is ripe for convergence. The time is right for BT to converge that into a single core and try and simplify some of this backhaul in our mobile infrastructure. So on the right, we see that coming together. We're trying to eliminate some of those third-party dependencies for backhaul products in the access network. We're also heading, as has been alluded to in the earlier presentation, towards what operators are seeing as a single IP core, and that's for both our fixed and mobile, so we can optimize, get the efficiencies of scale as we build up our capacity, but also operational efficiencies as well. And that really in terms of operational efficiency and that IP cloud and where that's going, we are looking, as is most of the industry, in the direction of travel with operators these days towards disaggregation, network cloud and virtualization. So on the left here you can see where we are today. So this is where operators are buying specialized appliances with integrated hardware and software. And we want to move towards this world where we've got one common infrastructure running a common OSS onto which we load those virtual network functions. So whereas today as a network architect and designer, if we were to buy off one of our strategic suppliers, on the left-hand side, our model here, it would take us at least 18 months to 2 years to integrate a new purpose-built, purpose-designed appliance. On the right here, we're looking to build a common sort of network cloud architecture, which is a common infrastructure across many sites within the UK, onto which, so it's like a private cloud, not public, private cloud, into which we're going to load those network functions to get us a far quicker time to market with both network service operations and operation activities, and also from service providers to host those as well. So 5G is really the first opportunity we've got, and a ripe opportunity to move to the right-hand side of this slide to our IP core. So we're consolidating network functions in order to grow that capacity, and also the operational integration that goes with that. Now, when I look at the access network, and we talk about disaggregation and virtualization, and people say cost savings are going to be huge because we're moving towards more common IT hardware, we're not using specialist hardware. I look at that and I scratch my head a little bit. I can see there are CapEx reductions to be had with buying non-specialized telecoms kit and building IT hardware. But as we move towards that, we're pushing the complexity of that into the integration of software and the development of that software. And we're very much on a journey, I think, as an operator, to say we can see that there are massive advantages in moving to this virtualized network on the right-hand side here, but we are still a long way off achieving that. Yes, I won't go any further down that road. So in terms of network cloud, I said we're moving away from specialist hardware. Where are we on that journey? Well, in terms of, I'll just go back a bit on that. Where are we on that journey? Well, to date, we have designed our network cloud common infrastructure. We have a design for that. We've built that into 2 labs at BT, and I think it's fair to say we're currently in trial of trying to host virtual network functions on that. When we launched 5G back in May, that was with a virtualized solution design, but in a silo type way. The network cloud solution designs we have now are designed to exploit multi-vendor, multi-service type solutions. By December this year, we're hoping to have our first network cloud or cloud native functions on those 2 lab-based cloud infrastructures. And beyond that, we're looking to go into the real network, into live, in about 3 target sites by the end of this financial year, by the end of April. So we will have our sort of private cloud infrastructure built out at 3 of our regional hubs, and we'll slowly be launching our virtual functions onto that infrastructure and evolving our 5G build-out onto that integrated core. Looking a bit beyond that, I think about 5 years out, our current expectation is to be out to about 15 regional sites throughout the UK to give us that sense of to give us that virtual environment. But again, it is a journey. It is a journey in terms of how much of this can we exploit to give us operational efficiencies. And that really comes down to the intelligence layer that we're still experimenting with. So on this slide, we're showing, okay, we've got our three converged networks in the middle here. We've got mobile, fixed, and Wi-Fi. But the clever bit is going to be this intelligence layer, which sits above it. How do we manage that seamless experience for the customer, that they have the same excellent experience on any platform everywhere they go? And that is where we're going to see the operational and economic efficiencies, which mean we can start to build out and evolve those products and evolve the capacity of our platforms, hopefully little extra cost or within the good business case. I wanted to call out also some of the good work that's going on in the Broadband Forum. Clearly, as we are a member of the Broadband Forum, BT, we're actively engaged in a lot of these activities. Some of these activities are obviously core to what I've been talking about, excuse the pun. Mobile convergence, full operational aggregation, fixed access transport. I think fixed access transport is the major cost here, as was alluded to early by Julie. 5G is not going to wipe out fixed, and fixed is going to dominate for a long time in getting fibre deep into our access networks to serve the cell towers. And as we move into small cells and the densification of network, fibre is going to drive a long way towards the customer into the access network. The choice of that technology, I look at those technologies today and the cost stacks. Yeah, technically we can do it, but the cost stacks we've still got some work on. Point-to-point fibre out to cell towers, okay. Point-to-point fibre out to small cell environments, probably won't hack it. So we're looking at XGS PON or other PON technologies to do that in order to give our product line the cost stacks they need to be able to build a business case that works. Also wanted to call out broadband access abstraction. The split of OpenReach and BT. BT typically owns the metro and the core network. OpenReach owns the access. So in the UK, we've got a few more challenges to meet with our regulatory environment. And when we look at disaggregation and, again, function virtualization, it does work for OpenReach in certain ways, but the benefits aren't as clear-cut as if we had a vertically integrated company. So from BT and OpenReach's point of view, we have a slightly more difficult business case to juggle in terms of what works in access and what works in metro and core. I also wanted to call two things I wanted to call out from the Broadband World Forum, actually. TR369, clearly with all these devices we're going to have out there, TR69 in the DSL broadband world has been key in terms of management of devices. As we move into this seamless world where we've got multiple devices of various types, to be able to manage and operate that network, TR369 is going to be crucial to that. And one of the other things I saw at a broadband, I think it was on YouTube from the Broadband Forum, it was something called QED by, was it OutSystems or OutSys? As we move, clearly managing the customer experiences going forward is crucial. We have various segments to this network now. So we have fixed, we have mobile, we have all fixed, we point-to-point radio, we have various segments of the network. Now, the QED project was very interesting, and it was looking at end-to-end performance of that network, which is pretty straightforward, but ultimately it enabled us to look at sections of that network as well. So a bit of a call out to the QED guys there, because I see that as being key going forward, especially when we've got various, especially with the OpenReach and sort of BT Metro and Core type world, where a service provider wants to understand end-to-end, but ultimately you've got multiple sections of your network that could be impacting latency, high throughput, QoS, etc. So in summary, BT is on a journey. We've built Network Cloud in two forms into our labs, and we're playing with it now. We're currently in ITT and RFI on vendor selection for the virtual network functions, the 5G applications which are going to run on that. We're trialling those in our lab out until December. We'll be deploying out to 3 live sites by the end of this financial year. And as I said, within 5 years, hopefully that'll be out to at least 15 regional sites, probably more looking at it. The operational efficiencies of that are crucial. It's not just the adoption of IT hardware, not fairly expensive integrated telco-specific hardware, but it's also the operations and the maintenance. And the key from my point of view, I think, is not the possible CapEx savings on that hardware and platform build. If we've got to dig in fibre and we've got to deploy fibre, there's very little we can do to bring down the cost of that now. And the head-end electronics is typically less than 10% of the overall cost of building a network. So the CapEx savings are probably, okay, they're there, but they're not as dramatic as people would hype. I see the key benefit going forward is the efficiency of the operations and maintenance, and telemetry, the ability to monitor telemetry of your network and to certainly automate certain functions of your network operation. That's the clever bit, that's the intelligence layer, which I think from us as an operator is going to deliver very high cost benefit. Clearly we're supporting the BB Broadband Forum in their work on core activities, and also a call out to 3GP and the work the Broadband Forum is doing with them to enable our gigabit enabled fully converged core.